Hi? Maybe? Maybe? Don't know. Let's find out. Let me stick on the iPad, see if I've got any kind of notification of what's going on today. But yeah, just in case this is working, good morning. How are you? Lovely. Oh, that's not it. That seems to be a fireman doing fireman things. That's not the notification. That's not the notification you were looking for. Ah, there we go. There's me. Can we hear me? Yeah. Yay! Look at that. And there's Saduka. How are you, sir? Try to join this session. I hope you make it. If you do, anyway, right? Okay. It is currently 08:46. So if you are watching this on coming back to it for like a catch up to watch and see what happened, then unless you want to listen to my preamble for 14 minutes while you do a warm-up or something, then I recommend zipping forward through this video for like 13 odd minutes, okay, just to get closer to the start of the row. Again, it's like we do pretty much all the time on these Sunday morning group rows. It's a 30-minute row, so you know what you've got. And I've said before, I mean, what I kind of like about these rows is that they're very just free form, all right? Not just in how we row it, but also in just like the whatever comes out of my mouth. This is a kind of a Sunday morning, just little bit of release, both mentally and physically, where you can kind of do what you want. If you want to go for a really hard, tough row, you can go for a hard, tough row. If you want to do like a 30-minute time trial, then go for it. I mean, God, I couldn't think of anything worse at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday than doing a 30-minute time trial, but maybe that's exactly what you have planned today, in which case, fantastic, go for it. Don't let my negativity spoil your day. Or maybe you just want to see this as a recovery row. Maybe you're, I don't know, maybe you've had a tough week and you want to use it as a recovery. Maybe you want to just kind of see how you feel, which is kind of what I tend to do for most of these rows, is that I just start off rowing. Tell you what, hang on, this is very rude. I'm just heading down at the bottom. Let's do this. Hello, it's me. So I can't get the focus right. I don't know if it's something to do with the preset. And you can see my weights in the corner. There's the lights that are there. You can see a little carrot mascot, which actually, if I do that, you should lose, like, pretty much gets ghost ears because the green screen comes back. Goes, ooh, the magic of green screen. Hang on. Because my little carrot mascot is actually a dog toy. If you don't know what the carrot's about, then you really need to just go through my back catalogue and you'll find out exactly why Carrot is my mascot. John Edge is here. Hello, sir. Morning, everybody. Will be a slow one for me today. I'm sticking to nose breathing only today. No mouth breathing for me. I'm assuming that's what it's going to say. Yeah. Tell you what's interesting about because I've got a couple of videos up here where I've done the same, where I've done nasal breathing. And once you get past as long as you're, with the caveat that as long as you're not going too fast, okay? As long as you're working within the realms of where you're able to do nasal breathing while you're rowing. Once you get past like the first, say, minute or so, where you get that little sense of panic, maybe panic's the wrong word, but your brain's kind of going, we should really have our mouths open at this point and breathing. This is what we normally do. Once your brain kind of goes, all right, this is what we're doing. We're just doing nasal breathing today. You can kind of, it gets you into that nice flow state, and then it's just down to intensity, not going too hard and fast to the point that you need to breathe through your mouth. But it's a really interesting thing to do. I enjoy doing it. Is Jerome, yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it? Where have you been? We've been sitting here waiting for you week after week. We all just wait and we go, is Jerome here? No, all right. And then we all just stop and go somewhere else. But now that you're here, we can actually have a row on our Sunday morning. That's fantastic. Sarcasm, of course. But yeah, not sarcasm for you for welcoming back, so good to see you back here. Tell you what, I've said it before, I'll say it again, what I love is the fact that it is familiar names. Like so far we've got Sanuka, John and Jerome are all, is it Jerome, hard J? Maybe? Yeah, we're all people that are like constantly here, and it's fantastic. And I do love the fact that we've got this little community of people that kind of tend to kind of sit and watch on YouTube as well. Who knows how many people are constantly coming back? Because I never keep track of names for the people that are on the virtual river. So anyway, speaking of which, let's get things connected. Now you will see that I'm on Concept 2 today. I had, when I was posting this on Instagram and stuff, I'd hashtagged WaterRower because my intention was to use the WaterRower today. However, there's a couple of reasons why I'm not on the WaterRower, but the big reason is I totally forgot, or at least I forgot to set it up last night. And so I went through the process, kind of walked in a little bit sleepy this morning into the studio, set all the lights up and everything, and then went, oh man, I'm supposed to be on the WaterRower. And then it was like 8:44 and I just didn't have enough time to swap over machines. So next time, I promise. Is it busy with, was this redoing the garden and had some back issues lately? You know, the the amount of back issues that I've had over time from gardening. Like I could lift, quite happily lift like 100 kilograms on a deadlift and all that kind of stuff, like easy, but I bend over to pick up a rock in the garden and my back goes. Anyway, I hope that's not what happened to you. I hope it's just like, I don't know. I can't. It's hard to think what it could be if it's gardening related, other than that's what's happened to you. But right. So you'll see anyway. So the PM5, you saw me connecting that to Exa. I went for RowAlong data rather than the Exa split. Nothing wrong with Exa split, but I just prefer RowAlong data. And then I just turned my MyZone on for heart rate. We'll see what this. I can never remember what this is like for whether this one has the spurious resting heart rate stuff. Finish start setup. Okay, and then if you haven't already, if you're using the Exa app and you haven't already registered for this morning's Rise and Roll with RowAlong, please do. You can do it within the app, but I, for once, have actually remembered to do it, so I can hit Let's Go. Our delay is quite substantial, it must be said. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, it's a good. I can't think why. Maybe it's a latency issue, but I'd say we're a good 15 seconds behind. Okay, all right. So where are we? Okay, so far there are 15 people in the water. Now, compared to sometimes, hey, nice hat, Emses. Compared to some weeks where we've had like over 100, then you'd look at 15 and go, well, that's not very many people. But number one, it's actually right. I was about to say number one, it doesn't tend to change once you're on the water, it just tells you the amount, but it's not. It is actually changing, so that was a lie. But it's summer, all right? So between people being on summer vacation, it just being too damn nice outside, sorry language, too nice outside to want to be in your garage, your shed, your front room or whatever, going for a row. So actually I think the fact that there are 17 people here this morning so far, let's hope maybe we'll break 25, 30, because we are 7 minutes to go until the start of the rows, so we could easily kind of break that number. I'm going to make myself smaller for the next wee while because you might want to see yourself on screen when you arrive. You never know. So give me a second to reduce the size of me. Like, I'm flying, Mom, I'm flying. I know I should not do stuff like that. I should kind of preserve the magic of television. Tell you what, I've got that shadow. I'm going to mess around with this for a second because I've got that shadow sitting at the top corner. So I want to get rid of that. Use preset. Yep. Cancel. Give me a second. Right. Is this where I get crop? Yeah, crop. All right. Top. No, that's a zoom, isn't it? That's not what I want. Oh. Hang on. Close. That's not the one I wanted. Oh, come on. We'll get there in a second. This is exciting, isn't it? Yes. Where's the other crop then? Scaling aspect. No. Am I setting something wrong here? All right. Is there maybe a transform? Sorry, I know this is not very exciting. Order, oh, maybe I can't do it. I'm sure I've done this before though, where I've managed to crop off little bits. Stretch, center. No. Edit transform? Is it that? Top. That's just moving, or maybe it's moving me up as I crop it and then I have to move everything down again. I think that's what it is. It's just, what's that like? That's a bit better, I think. Close. Moving that down again. All right, I might still have that odd shadow, but it's not quite as bad as it was. So if I do that, so if I'm there on screen, you should have an okay, you should round about see my force curve underneath my backside. Apologies, you're going to have to stare at my bottom if you want to see force curve. You can see my strokes per minute is just peeking out under there, and my pace is peeking out just there. Now my heart rate is still not 93, so I don't know what is going on. Maybe it's actually, it could well be, so I keep on blaming it on the tech, but the very fact that, because if I tell you what, actually this is a good way to do it. How long have we got? Is that 3-4 minutes? 4 minutes. Yeah, all right, looking at it, yes, we're 15-second delay. So if you are using the Exa app to row along with today's group row properly, as well as watching me and listening to me on YouTube, then please be aware that there's a 15-second delay. There's a chance that it's because I reused the settings of a previous row, it's defaulted to the latency settings from before. It's not MyFitnessPal you want, you idiot. It's MyZone. MyZone. Okay. Let's see what MyZone says my heart rate is. Come on. Establishing connection with device. Okay. Oh no. All right, so it's not an Exa thing. I was going to blame Exa for maybe not dealing with the heart rate properly, but hang on, we're right. I'm going to click my fingers on every heartbeat. Slightly off, but it's definitely down in the 30s. In fact, well, my Garmin says 51, 52, whereas that's saying 80. I just thought, I think it's a shame actually, because where are we time-wise? It's a shame because my Apple Watch was the best thing I've ever had for wrist-based heart rate monitors, so quite why I bought the Garmin and things. But for rowing, it's just, for everything else, the Garmin's fantastic, so it's MyZone, but for rowing, it sucks. This Tobias, hey, going back to what I was saying about familiar names. Tobias is here, good morning together. Good morning, Tobias, how are you? And we're up to, all right, so there we go. So I was saying about more and more people arriving on the virtual river. We're up to 35 now, so that's fantastic. So since I hit go 5 minutes ago, 20 more people arrived. 35 is a great number. So, little swig of ambition. Oh, ow. I swallowed something too big for dinner last night. Oh, excuse me. And it's irritated my chest. Hey, Sanuka's here. Well done. You managed to get connected. It's kind of irritated my diaphragm. I don't know. Anyway, right. So my plan for today, I am going to start nice and gentle and kind of see how I feel. I'm not entirely sure what I'm planning to do. So I'll probably just rock into this as a 20 strokes per minute. I'm just setting my Garmin up. Sorry for ignoring you. 20 strokes a minute. Kind of low intensity, and then see, I can't remember what course we're on, how soon the sprints come. I certainly wouldn't do the first sprint. So yeah, so I'll just see how I feel. It's been a hard training week for me, which I will talk about. But feel like sprinting today, says Jerome. Well, let's see. Right, he's just brought it up. So so let's see exactly what happens. Possibly, just because you've waved that gauntlet in front of my face. Possibly, yes. Now remember everyone, there is a 15-second delay, I'm going to say it again, or if not more. So look at your Exa app rather than YouTube when it comes to the start, because otherwise you're going to be 15 seconds late and you'll be like, why is everybody going? So yeah, so get that right. And mostly I'm saying that just because I keep on looking at my YouTube screen rather than on national. Sanuka's doing the National Rowing Championships on the 23rd. Wow. I guess that's going to be... Is that in a couple of days, 3 days time? Fantastic, good luck. On the water as well. They'll never take off. Right, talking of taking off, we're gonna get going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Oh, I just felt this real click in my lower back because I did have first stroke, which is never fun. Okie dokes. So let's just get ourselves... Good morning, Andrew Fielden. Good morning, Nick Fox. let's just get ourselves nice and warm, okay? You can see I'm down at quite a gentle 2.9, 2.10 pace for the time being, mostly because of that click that I just felt on my lower back as I took that first. To say, lol, I'm gonna get crushed. All right, from snooker talking about the Open Championships. You know what? Don't worry about your performance compared to others. Just worry about what you want to get out of it. Set your goals. Make sure to hit them. In fact, while we're just spending a couple of minutes warming up a little bit, I'll talk a bit about that. You can see just quickly, as I'm getting a bit more comfortable with my stroke, my pace is going up. So whereas I started down at 2.11, now I'm at 2.07, and I'm too busy talking to you. So I'm not really thinking about power or anything. It's just that as my body opens up, gets a bit more comfortable, the pace is going up. Yeah, so my daughter Jamie is a really good swimmer, and she was at the summer meet last weekend. Yeah, last weekend. Swimming the 1500s and I think it was the 400 back. And it's interesting, the conversations, especially with a teenager, when it comes to performance versus expectations. And we talk about it a lot, where she'll see paces from other girls of her age and want to, hey, nice RowAlong outfit, and want to kind of match them, beat them, but she's not quite there yet, strength-wise or fitness-wise. But it means when she doesn't hit that big goal that she's aiming for, there's a risk of negativity creeping in. And so I'm constantly reminding her to celebrate the small wins, because like her 1500s, she got, was that a 4-second PB? I think she was wanting like 2 minutes. But because she still has a way to go on her big goal, the worry is that she's going to look at it, oh, I didn't chip enough off the big goal, and she bypasses the celebration that comes with that 4-second PB, celebrating that micro goal. Because when it comes to a race, all you can really ask is that you PB. Sometimes, especially if you're relatively new, you can see 15, 20 second increases, or maybe it's been 3 months since you did a test or a swim or a row or whatever. So you've got a lot of improvement in your legs, but the closer you get to the top of what you're currently able to achieve, smaller these micro goals become. And then the more that you need to remember to celebrate them, because when you hit a 15-second PB, it's pretty obvious how much you've improved. But 1 second, you don't want to look at it and say, oh, all that work for that. Don't let negativity spoil your success. That's all I'm saying. So, Sunuka, doesn't matter how you fare against everybody else, especially if you know you're not going to podium. So set your own goal and make sure you're just putting in everything that you can put in. You can't control what other people do. You can only control what you can do. Or at least you can control what other people do, but usually it's by cheating in some way, knocking them over, or and we don't want that. Right. So hopefully you are nicely warmed up. You found your rhythm and your angles. But if you can, just try and have a quick analysis of your stroke, especially if, like me, you have a habit to let a couple of bad gremlins creep in. My ones right now are a slight escape of the backside, a butt scoot, so my backside starts moving before I actually push my feet into the machine. I'm watching myself on the YouTube viewer trying to get a hold of that and stop it. The other one is a strange kind of upwards rolling of my shoulders that I'm trying to stop. And then the third one is a lazy recovery. Don't know where that came from, but it's like, instead of getting arms away and the tilt forwards, I'm kind of arms away and then the tilt is happening while I'm bending my knees, and that's not ideal. So you want to be arms, body, legs. Arms, body, legs for the recovery, and then legs, body, arms for the drive. It is, unfortunately, a lot of this is the product of the fact that I'm not really spending as much time concentrating on my rowing recently. Even a row like this today, I'm too busy talking to you to properly concentrate. Like, all three cues that I just spoke about, totally forgotten about already. Whew. And then the other rowing I'm tending to do is the high rock stuff. Although I am trying to structure the rowing back in a bit more. But right now I'm having to try and work on running a bit more. Because I've been away from running for so long due to an Achilles injury that I need to build it back up before October's race in Toronto. But what I've found is that if I do long, slow, kind of 10 kilometers an hour pace runs, catching my breath. I wonder if that's John Edge. If I go slow, it triggers my Achilles injury. I think just because of the low cadence, all that force is going through my ankles on each step. Whereas, if I run at 13 kilometers an hour, my running technique changes enough that it doesn't happen. I think because of my momentum taking me forwards and a slightly higher cadence. So, what's interesting is it's almost the opposite of rowing for me, where in order to run with a good technique, I need to go fast. But I definitely row with a better technique when I'm going slow. The downside to my running approach is that I've not quite got the fitness for running to hold 13 for long runs. Even though that's the pace I'll be running at High Rocks, I need to build it up, so that's why I'm talking about the importance of adding in more fitness, endurance style rowing like today's. I think 133 heart rate right now is kind of where I'd want to be for a row like this, but probably find as we get to like 17, 18 minutes, cardiac drift will send my heart rate into zone 3. And then the choice becomes, how am I training? Am I training for heart rate zones? For pace? Or for RPE? Exertion? Let's see what this sprint is ahead. Can't see it. Come on with the preview. Oh, come on. 500 or 600. Sorry, Jerome. I'm hanging back to this pace, I'm afraid. I'm not really. I'm talking too much about the importance of building fitness with long, slow rows, so it does seem a bit daft to then do a 600 meter sprint. If it was anything under
150, I would have done it. Whew. I do like that name, catching my breath though. Tell you one thing, I was talking, don't know if that is John Edge, but he mentioned nasal breathing, or breathing through his nose on today's workout. And it really is beneficial in terms of your rowing control, if not your system, your breath, that you really need to keep the intensity at a very considered amount, hard enough that you know you're getting a workout, but not so hard that you have to open your mouth when breathing. In many ways, I feel my talking while rowing is almost breath training as well. I was listening to a podcast this week from a guy talking about how he uses his breath in training and how he'll hold his breath for 10 to 15 seconds. But importantly, after he exhaled, so breathe out, and then try and hold your breath for 5 strokes. It's really tough. I was doing it, I was out for a walk while I was listening to that podcast, and I tried to do it while walking, basically between lampposts, would be around 15 seconds. So I do exactly what you said. Breathe out, hold breath, and it becomes an almost panic state where my stomach would be convulsing in that kind of way it's trying to force my body to take a breath. Really interesting. Various studies done about it. There was one done a few years back that totally disproved the concept. And then they found out they were doing it wrong. They were doing it where people would inhale and then hold their breath, which gives a completely different physiological response. But the American swim team utilized it in their training, and we all know how well they do. So maybe, as long as there's no health reason not to, maybe you want to try holding your breath for maybe 2-3 strokes, just to see what happens. Remember I was talking about cardiac drift. That's it. So it's just up at 150. Seems to have calmed down a little, but it's definitely a lot higher than the 127, 130 when I was at only 14 minutes into here, so you have to understand that even at low intensity, you can still see your heart rate spike. So this still feels like 6 out of 10 intensity. My pace is probably about 2K plus 16, 17. My 2K time is rubbish right now. But my heart rate is saying that this is like a zone 3, 4 intensity. So the important thing is to pick your poison, let's say. What one do you want to train by and stick to it? Don't mix and match. Because pace-based rowing, you'll end up like I am right now with a spiked heart rate because I'm not allowing for cardiac drift by slowing down. So if I was trying to hold it at zone 2, the moment I saw my heart rate was around 130, I'd have eased off the pace a bit. And remember, there are 3 ways that you can control intensity and pace. Technique, power, and stroke rate. So if I lock into 20 strokes a minute, you can see I'm rowing 201, 202 pace right now. But if I just push harder, so no stroke rate change, going back again. Just a change in the push for my legs, and I was going 4 seconds faster, and that wasn't even pushing it as hard as I could. Don't want to do that. Might do that at the end. It's the same. I could hold the same relative power and take the rate up. Let's do that. So I'm not pushing any harder, particularly. I just took the rate up. To 24 and was seeing the same pace increase as when I just increased power. I just took the rate up by having a slightly quicker recovery. Drive speed was still pretty much the same, but recovery was a little quicker. And now, if I combine them both, one 50 something, say 10 seconds quicker than before by utilizing both. And this is why a lot of people will get in touch with me and say that they rode 20 strokes per minute along with me, yet they can't hit my pace. I mean, some people go faster, but I'm talking about the ones who are slower. And I say the same thing to them. It's not about stroke rate. Because again, I can row 20 strokes a minute, still hitting the same body angles, but because I'm not putting power in from my legs, I'm really slow. And then add the power, same stroke rate, and I'm now 20 seconds faster. And that is the trick. Even more so than stroke rate. It's about pushing the power into the machine. And that's where technique, the third part, comes in, where you need to allow that power to get into the machine, which comes from straight arms and a forwards tilt as you come forwards. And by forwards tilt, I mean shoulders past your hips out in front of them, not a curled lower back that has your shoulders behind your hips. Then brace your core, try to keep a nice neutral posture, only roll in until shins are vertical, and then push your legs into the machine. And if you keep your arms straight and the forwards tilt, and think about pushing the machine away from you, it should help maintain that position better than if you were thinking about pulling the handle to the back of the stroke. Because the moment you think about getting to the back, that's when you pull early and swing early. And although I only dropped 4 seconds or so doing that, I get tired really quickly. Okay, so max power for 3 more strokes. There we go. So my last stroke there was 152. So still at 20 strokes a minute, but by really pushing in hard with the legs, I was able to go 10 seconds faster at the same stroke rate. And so what you're looking for is how you're rowing to find the balance of the workout that you're doing, how fast you want to go, and what your fitness is like. So I could easily row high stroke rate, high power in that row, but I'd probably only last a minute before having to stop. Or I could just go very slow and easy, maybe not quite get the workout I intended. Or I could hit that point where I'm working the muscles, it's fine, I'm not overdoing it. Heart rate and whatever is getting worked, but not overdoing it. It's like that kind of step up. So you look at what it is, and that's what training plans are about, really. That's why in like my rowing training plans is the three, you either do low intensity, tempo, or hard max. And if you look at them, you'll see it's like the low intensity ones tend to be long, slow rows. The tempo ones are kind of things like 6 times 5 minute intervals at a hard intensity, not max, but hard, so that you're kind of tapped out by the end of each interval, but then you're able to recover for the next one. That's the point of them. And then max is things like Tabata workouts where you go absolutely like eye bulging for 20 seconds. And you can only really hold that for 20 seconds before you need a rest. And so that's the point, is you need to know your body so you know how much you can push in for certain workouts. Anyway, right, sorry. Where are we? Joan says, great row, everybody. Apologies for not doing that sprint or the 2 sprints that were in there, but I knew it would be a bad idea. Just my training week this week, have I had a rest day? I think yesterday was technically a rest day. I did walk for like an hour and a half, but it doesn't really count. But it was a hard week of like sprint running on Monday, long bike ride on Tuesday, sprint running on Wednesday, long row on Thursday, sprint running on Friday, rest day-ish yesterday. And then today I've got this row, and then I'm about to do some high rocks station training. So, and I'm not 18 anymore. Blimey, didn't watch live while rowing as open RowAlong channel, not live notification. Sorry. Does that say Blase? Blasque? Yeah, so unfortunately, the live rows are all in this RowAlong live channel now rather than the main one. I should really post something every week just to remind people on shorts. I'll start doing that. You've reminded me to do that, so thank you and apologies. John says, no problem, John. Okay, cool. I just apologise because I did say I'd get into that bun fight with you. Cheers and thanks to the row. Thanks for coming. I hope to see you next time. Remember, next week is 5 o'clock in the evening for the row, so let's see who turns up there. There's Andrew just sitting in the water. Enjoyed that. By the way, I'm definitely not catching my breath. Ah, right, okay. Not you. Catching my breath beat me, so I'm quite glad it's not you. Nasal breathing with an average heart rate of 125. All right, sorry, with an average rate. All right. Oh, right. Anyway, I'm going to go, if that's all right with you. I think that was a great workout. 44 people turned up in the end, which is fantastic for, like I say, a summer Sunday morning. I think that's great. So hopefully, and how many people were on here? Like 14, I think we saw 18 at one point. Not loads of people turning up on here, but that's fine. In fact, I'm going to say thank you. I tend to just say thank you at the end when I've shut down the feed, so I'm just going to say thank you there. Right, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got a good workout. Hope you've got a great day planned ahead of you. Make sure and have a shower, have something to eat, have something to drink, maybe take in some electrolytes with that something to drink. Not too much salt if you, it depends where you stand on the whole blood pressure and salt thing. I've read quite a lot of things with people saying that salt isn't actually as bad as they've made it out to be for blood pressure, but 55 people for Andrew. Sorry, I'm now doing my normal, having a text conversation with Andrew. So, hey, took it easy-ish. I think, did you beat me or did I beat you? I don't know. For me, 55 people. All right, so still the same words. It's slightly different for different people. I think it just depends when you join, I think. There's a little kind of timing issues and like people issues and whatever that extra still need to try and iron out. But you know what? All I care about ultimately is what it's like to row on. All the kind of bells and whistles things in terms of numbers and things. I don't really. It gave me the right actual time once I started rowing, even though it said 38 minutes to go when I started. It's just, yeah, it's fine.
Well, I'm going to go to open report just to quickly. Oh, there's a fish. Oh no, I'm on the wrong thing again. No, I'm not. I'm on the right thing. Open report. There we go. All right, so you can see that's where I did the blast, I think, of high rate and high power. You can see, whoa, it went up. That's where I then did the same rate and then, but backed off the power. And then at the end, you can see, yeah. Trust me, it was 151, but the very last stroke was right at the very end of the row. And then that was 148, that was the high rate. But I took up to 30 because I got it wrong. Anyway, but you can see average heart rate 133. You can see mine kind of gradually drifting up as we went through the workout. So that's kind of what I'd expect for something like that. Cadence, yep, you can see that's when I was messing around with cadence at the end, but pretty much held the 20. And then, in fact, was that power? That one. Yeah, that was power, wasn't it? So I held the power. So that's heart rate. So who knows what happened there? Did I die? That's the cardiac drift. Sorry, my apologies. But you can see how when I start to mess around with stroke rate and stuff, you can see little bumps in pace there, like below. You can see that really triggered some cardiac drift, and that little like hard one, you saw, whoa, a big bow, and then it kind of calmed down. Weirdly, it kind of stayed a little bit calmer. It's almost like that big burst from going high rate. It kind of went, oh, and then it dealt with it. Whereas at first it went up, but then it kind of just went, all right, okay, we're working hard now, and my heart kind of caught up. It's interesting, that, isn't it? Especially because I then had that boost here. Anyway, sorry. I find that kind of stuff interesting. That's why I like this output report. Right, I'm going to go. So thank you so much again for joining me. How many viewers have I lost in the process of saying all that? Oh, there's no one. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something from the technique chat. Hope you got something from the setting small goals and celebrating them chat. I think it's important that you think about maybe not the goal itself for the small stuff. You just think about all the work that you put in, the process. This whole thing about process over progress. It's better to celebrate your process and kind of say, hey, I'm growing really well and that's why I hit my thing, rather than going, I hit my thing, yay! Because then if your whole life is just based on your results, then when you don't hit it, you'll be crushed and you'll have nothing to fall back on. Whereas if you can always come back and say, God, think about all the work I put in, that's fantastic how of where I am right now, then you're always celebrating a row even like this, like a low intensity 30, all right? So, like I say, have a shower, have something to eat, something to drink, all that kind of stuff. Oh, right. One of my drums just fell over. And make sure and tell someone you love them. Find someone you love, tell them you love them. I think it's important nowadays. And I will see you next week, 5 o'clock for the sunset rows. Until then, please have a fantastic week. I do hope that you look after yourselves. If you're out in the sun, make sure and stick on some sun cream. But make sure and have a great time. Summer's a lovely time of the year. It's just, yeah, I love it. Anyway, right, I am going to go. So I'm going to hit end broadcast and then I will get on with my day. So until next time, folks, row well, be well.